Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Kia ora, and welcome back to Settle, Shine, and Succeed. I'm Juvy from Grow Yourself in New Zealand, and we have.
Hi, I'm Regine from Saha, and we're all about mental strength.
Nice. The sound is not that loud though. Have you double checked? I don't
Oh,
know.
the microphone? Oh, let
Oh,
me.
probably I feel like I'm just speaking too loud. Even my daughter would say I sound so loud.
Huh,
Don't worry.
how about,
Yeah.
is it better? Oh.
Yes. Slightly better. Okay, probably that was just far away from you. Anyway, hey guys, it's good to see you again. It's good to see Regina again. Anyway,
I know.
we missed the two other months. I would say May and June. We're just too busy. I do understand your your cases.
We didn't miss 2 months, though. Did we miss 2 months?
No, no, we didn't. We haven't. We kept on texting and trying to set up the time for this fourth episode, but because
Right.
how busy our lives can be here in New Zealand. Anyway, we would like to keep pushing it forward because I know many of our kababayans, new immigrants, even if they're not Filipinos, they can really learn a lot from our podcasts.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Hey, quick recap on what we did last time. That was April. And we had our first guest who shared with us his journey as a student and building his family here. And of course, pursuing his business. That was really cool, right? From student to now have
Mm.
a business.
Yeah, he's a very good testimony of regardless where you start from. If you really just work hard, you stay true to your values, and you keep showing up out there, kahit na super hirap, you will eventually get to where you want to be. So it's really amazing na nag-start siya na meron pang nang scam sa kanya or parang
Yeah.
underpaid siya, and then now they're running their own self-employed gig,
Mm,
their own business, and then yeah, they are even able to hire people from overseas. So that's amazing. In just 10 years, 10 years nga ba?
oh, no, I forgot number of years, but I
Yeah.
reckon 100%. I agree that I still believe in working hard. Before you work smart,
Mm.
you work hard first, I would say.
No, that is so true. Mm.
But our discussion, our episode today is another interesting thing that I believe anyone coming to New Zealand should know about this because you will feel it. Culture shock will be our theme, social norms, and Kiwi friendships. In other words,
Mm.
New Zealand culture, understanding the New Zealand culture and the social norms here.
Yay. Exciting.
Ah,
So
okay. Yes.
so when I first came here, I think my very first culture and social shock was it's different now. But when I first came here, everything shuts down at 5 p.m. So
What
if
year
I
was that
can,
again?
everything shuts down at closes down at 5 in the evening, 5 p.m.
That was
2013.
in 2013
Yeah,
in Auckland.
in Auckland.
Because we first moved to Topo, so it's 3 hours away, and it's
Ah.
understandable that it's a small rural area. It's a tourist spot though, but then
Mm,
around I think five as well. Yeah, 5 o'clock. The
yeah.
shop, not all, because except for Pack and Save, which can stay a bit longer. I think around 10. I remember when I was upset with my husband, I went to town to cool myself down, and Pack and Save was still open. So Pack and Save was still open until 10, but warehouse and all other shops 5 p.m. I don't know now because we left ages ago.
Yeah. So those who don't know yet, Pack and Save is a supermarket. So you can imagine Juve cooling herself down in a supermarket. It's crazy. So if I can just share a very short story. So I arrived here on the evening before my first school day because I enrolled for a postgraduate diploma. And so I didn't bring a lot of toiletries like bottles of shampoos and lotions and makeup, all those things, because I thought, okay, I'll go out and buy those things because I'm sure I can get it from here easily. So the first night, I used everything from the landlord, except of course my own toothbrush. But then I thought, okay, after tomorrow's school, I get everything and then I'll be good. Nag, nag-end yung class ko at 5:30. So I went out of the building, Queen Street, everything was closed down. I was like, how am I supposed to take shower?
Oh,
I didn't
geez.
have anything.
Because you were expecting that it's a city, right? It's not the capital, but it's the biggest city. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm,
Any audience watching
yeah,
us right now? It's the biggest city, and it's the most populated city in New Zealand. And you were expecting that the time should have been a little bit longer, but of course now, Anage extend now we have Kmart that is up 24 hours now, right?
yeah.
I think Kmart is 24 hours. Warehouse here in Manukau is up to 12. Of course, Pack and Save and Countdown is still around 10 or 11. Yeah. Ano pa ba ang mga night market? Well, we have night markets anyway for food. You know, which one
Yeah.
is your favorite?
Pakuranga. Always
Uh,
Pakuranga. It's
uh,
far from me, but I think it's the biggest one or most
really?
diverse one.
Where about are
I
you
think
again?
so.
West Auckland?
Mount Roskill.
Mount
I mean
Roskill.
Central. Mm.
But Sylvia Park in Westfield, I think they still shut around 5 or 6 or 7. There are variations in with the time
Mm.
depending on the days.
They.
Oh, isa pa. One thing that I have noticed now is the Bunnings warehouse. Do you love DIY? Because I do.
Yeah, we go to Bunnings, but we go like during office
What
hours. I don't know
on
what
Z
time they close.
right. Because they have changed. They have extended the time, and we were so happy because we can go there
Ah.
after work hours. So they shut, depending on the days again, they can extend up to 8, 7 or 8, depending on the days. But
Mm.
previously, 5 they also shut. But yeah, but it's probably because there are more people coming to New Zealand, especially in Auckland. I'm just not sure
Yeah.
with the in the countryside if it's still the same. Like my first town here, Topo. I love Topo, but it's so cold there. So we're talking about the first part, which is our first impression, our everyday habits as well in New Zealand. So these are the things that we've noticed when we first moved, and what are the changes now? Ano pa ba mga another thing that I have noticed, because we lived in the farm, right? And those
Mm.
farmers just freely go to the shops, whatever they look like. As
Oh
they
yeah.
farmers, they don't care. In the
Mm.
Philippines, we really care about people. I don't know. We just look carefully at anyone who's going in and out of the shops, and we kind of judge them based on their appearance. But here, people don't care.
Yeah, that is so true. I've adapted to that as well. I can go to the supermarket in my pajamas and flip-flops. But
Oh, good on you. I think
yeah,
I've done it
I
in summer.
definitely do.
I was even telling my husband,
But
I'm going to go to the grocery store with my robe, and he was like, you better stay away from me. I'm not go along with you. Did it. I did it. Hooray. Just recently, I went to the shop with my daughter. Of course, she kind of kept distance from me because I was in my, I just felt cold, and I don't care however I look like.
yeah, I mean it's good in a way because we don't have unnecessary pressure to things that won't really matter. I feel if you're really just going to the supermarket, some people even go barefoot up until today. I don't know if you still see them.
Yes, my students. And I was
Yeah.
like, it's winter time. Don't you feel cold? They go to school barefoot and we even provide them shoes. But the following week, they will feel like, nah, I don't like the shoes. We just, I think it's them. It's just the Kiwi. They were born here. They
Yeah,
still
yeah.
feel hot even at winter time. Sounds
Mm,
it looks really interesting, but once you get a hang of it, nah.
yeah.
At first, you'll really be surprised, right?
Mm. Yeah, in the beginning, I was like, why is everybody barefoot? I think I noticed it first when I had a vacation in Hamilton, so another small town. And we went to Pack and Save as well, supermarket. It's maybe 30% of the people didn't have shoes or slippers on. And that's when I realized, oh, this is a norm. Because there's no beach nearby. Di ba usually meron beach nearby kasi everything is
Yeah.
closed off na. Pero there, wala talagang beach. And then I got confused that may malapit bang swimming pool? Bakit nakataas? Why are they
Mm.
there? But then I realized that that's the norm. So yeah, for those who
Mm.
are planning to come here, don't be shocked when
Mm.
you
Mm.
see. And not
I
because
wish-
we wear pajamas to the supermarket. It doesn't mean we are homeless. We are normal.
Oh, I have noticed so many things in comparison to the Philippines. Like another thing, because it's winter time. Right now it's winter, but you will still see a lot of people wearing shorts. Like they're wearing thick jackets, but they're wearing shorts down below. And you'll be like,
Yeah.
you really feel cold or not? Or probably they're balancing it. But
Well, that's
oh,
me this morning.
you went outside on your shorts.
Yeah, so what happened is because we went to the gym in the morning, so I had my gym clothes on, which is shorts. And then after that we had to pick up the groceries, so I decided not to change clothes. So I was
Mm,
there in my jacket and my shorts. So
mm,
yes.
yeah.
No,
I think
yeah, it balances the cold. I think as long as your neck is covered and your back,
mm,
the legs
yeah,
are fine.
yeah.
Mm.
So long as your feet are closed with
And
shoes, right?
feet.
Those
I went in my flip flops too. So, but yeah, it
so
does help
you
when
went barefooted as well. Have you
no,
tried?
not barefoot, with flip flops.
And another thing as well in my environment, school environment, because I'm a teacher in the Philippines. I got used to putting makeup on because you need to look pretty and nice and presentable. But here, I don't care. When I and even my colleagues, they don't want to be bothered. Not
Yeah,
all and not all the time, depending on the occasions. But during everyday classroom routine, we're just basically on our track pants, during this winter time, and shirts and anything that's comfortable. But I've noticed we're putting less makeup, so I don't wear makeup. I very seldom wear makeup. What about in your uh
area, field.
yeah, in your field? Yeah,
Yeah.
offices.
Well, when I used to work in supply chain, because I used to work in supply chain, definitely makeup is almost zero, unless you're in sales, marketing, HR. But
Yeah.
yeah, like you go there, you get the job done. Doesn't really matter how you look like. As long as you're hygienic, you're not
Yeah.
stinky, you had shower, you brush your teeth, you're fine. Just do your work. It's the same thing. But I think when I switched to business, because as business owners, we're also our own salesmen, saleswomen. And so
Mm.
I meet a lot of business people. Sometimes I meet with investors. Sometimes I meet with potential clients or just whoever professional out
Yeah.
there. And so in that
Yeah.
environment, almost everybody is dressed up and made up. Men usually wear suits, leather shoes, very different from a typical day, Kiwi day. But yeah, I think it's all about knowing what fits there.
Mm,
So if you are not sure, for me, if I'm not sure, I'd rather be overdressed than underdressed.
I think
So
because in your field, you're meeting business men
yeah,
and women, right? And you'll be talking about
a lot of
businesses.
them.
So it's
Yeah,
understandable, I would say, because you're marketing yourself anyway. But in my case
yeah.
as a teacher, like, yeah, I still do put makeup when we have social gathering, like meeting our parents, meeting the
Mm,
parents of our kids. So we have to look nice and presentable and looking professional. But day to
yes.
day basis with kids, they don't really care if
Yeah.
you're so much makeup, because at the end of the day, you'll be sweating or all of those will fade away.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I attend like events and really important meetings, that's when I really dress up. But every day, like right now, I'm not wearing any makeup, and I came from like coaching calls before this. As long as I look decent, and I know that I brush my hair and I look fine, it's fine as long as I do my job. So I find that Kiwis also because I think here we learn to appreciate nature, the natural things a lot more than whatever mind-made stuff is out there. So it also reflects on how we carry ourselves that, hey, this is the natural me. So
Oh,
we
thanks
love
for
it.
bringing that up because I've also noticed that. Yeah, so true. I agree with you that
Mm,
they love to just appreciate the nature, and their favorite colors are the earth color. That's what my
air
sister told me.
colors.
The green, brown, gray, even the houses, right?
Yeah.
They're the same.
Yeah.
And if your house will be colored pink, you look so unusual, and it looks
Yeah.
like an eyesore in the street. Oh, I
Mm,
like it. Like, just let the plants grow wherever they are comfortable growing, and they look beautifully magnificent growing together, especially at springtime. It
yeah.
compared to I don't really compared to our landscape back home where we color the stones. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen that one in my hometown back in the Philippines where we colored our stones in different colors to make it more colorful. But for me, when I see New Zealand with just let the stones be stones, rocks be rocks, and just put them there nicely. I just feel like this is the kind of beauty that I like, natural.
Mm. I totally agree with you. I love nature. I would admit though, when I first came here, I felt that this place is so boring because
Oh,
it's so quiet. There were, like you said, not so many artificial colors around, not many
mm,
decorations, not many colorful lights. But then eventually I realized that, oh my gosh, this place is so beautiful. You don't even need to do anything about it. It's already like
mm,
naturally beautiful. And then I went back. The first time I went back home was in 2015 after 2 years of staying here.
mm.
And the things that I used to miss, that I used to say that, oh, in the Philippines, I can go out at night and do this. Oh, in the
Yeah.
Philippines, we have this and that. Oh, in the Philippines, it's better because of this. Suddenly, my perspective changed when I went home and I felt like I love New Zealand.
Oh no, you have a change of heart.
Yeah, I mean, there are still things that I miss, like, there's unlimited street foods, especially at night, and
Yeah. In
the
the
life, especially at
Philippines, there's
night.
like the 24 hours fun, especially if you live in the busy city like Manila. You're from Manila?
Yeah, yeah, Laguna,
Like,
Laguna, Manila. Yeah, I was
so
moving.
it's 24 hours operation. Like, there will be
Mm,
clubs and events every now and then. Because I've heard from
yeah,
some Kiwis as well, they find New Zealand boring because there's not much event. But for me, getting older, I like New Zealand because it's quieter.
yeah. I mean, I think you just need to know where to go. And I think this is important, especially for those who are yet to come here, that not everything is visible and announced. So you have to get into the community, like the community newsletters or Facebook groups, and then you'll find out, oh, there's a local event here, there's a local
Mm,
event there. I think people here are very localized. So they're
Mm,
very tight knit in terms of, okay, Mount Roskill, we have this event this weekend, and then people in your area, for example, won't even have an idea that we have something going on in here. But then
mm,
it's quite easy to travel from from me to you.
yes,
So
yes.
yeah, people here
And
are quite localized.
another thing as well that impacts the going in and out or going about New Zealand out and about is because of the busy life, the work. Um,
Oh yeah.
work, I would say, because a lot of immigrants who would come here are looking for work anyway in the first place. So,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
moving
On
on
the
to,
side, yeah.
yeah, I
Oh no,
would like
let's
to move on to
continue.
the next one.
Yeah.
Because the next one, another thing that we've noticed here is communication.
What? Which part of
The English communication, the New Zealand accent, the New Zealand
yeah.
language. In other words, of course, we are so unfamiliar. Growing in the Philippines, we are mostly aware of the American accent, and our English, the words are Americanized, but here it's different. Although it sounds like European, but still there's a twist with the accent. So, and I think every Filipinos have noticed that.
Yeah, 100%. I have another story with that. The first work I had, I didn't bring a pen.
A
Yeah,
pain.
a pen. And so of course, come I'm new from the Philippines. I said ball pen. What is a
Yes.
pen? So I was in a like a board table, and there are like maybe around 8 other people sitting around the table, and I asked everyone, can I borrow a pen? Does anybody have an extra pen? And everybody's looking at one another that do you have? And they don't have one. And I can see there are pens like at the other end of the table. And I'm like, can I borrow the pen? The pen. And they
Mm.
were like, what is she talking about? And I said, pen, the ball pen. And they were like, oh,
No,
the
no,
pen.
no.
Because it's not a pen, it's a pen. And
Yeah,
so yeah, the
because of
accent
the
is very difficult. It's not just the pen and pin. It's like yeah,
that's
everything.
more. Yeah, the bin, the bin.
Yeah.
Well, empty the bin. Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
of E. They follow the kind of long E sound.
Mm.
And but I was already won by my husband because he came here first. He was already here 3 years before I came over, and so I was already aware of the E sound. But then there are a lot of words that I'm not familiar
Mm.
with. Number one that shocked me and I wasn't able to reply straight away is the heaps. Thanks
Ah.
heaps. And I was like, what was that, the hips? I thought it's the he was referring to it means much. Jeez.
Mm.
And my husband was just laughing at me. Good on him. He was already familiar with those words. Are there any other words that you can remember shocked you as well here in New Zealand?
To me, I think the very first one that I got really confused for a long time was ta.
The
So
what?
my very ta ta.
I haven't heard that.
But never heard of that. So this is an apparently Australian Kiwi slang for thanks. So
Ah,
my very first manager at work, she used to text me a lot, and every message would have ta, and I'm like, what is ta? And I didn't bother because I felt like it didn't mean anything significant. But
yeah.
I think after a few months, I asked my colleague, "What's my our manager keeps telling me ta. What was that?" And she's like,
Thank
"Ta means
you.
thanks."
That,
And so so a lot of Kiwis and Aussies apparently who grew up here locally, they tend to say if it's a very casual conversation, especially if you see each other a lot or you're very close, you just say "ta," and it
mm,
means yeah,
there
"ta."
are more that I need to learn because honestly, that's my first time I've heard about it. I've heard
Yeah,
of Venus Gold, sweet ass. When I've heard of
sweet
that, I
as.
was like, what are you talking about? Because but it's the as. I was also corrected with that one by my students because I said it with the A S sound,
Yeah.
and then of course it has a different meaning. I don't want to say it here. But when you say as, it's a z sound, like cool as. So you have to make
Yeah.
sure you have the z sound.
Z.
If it's the s sound, they're gonna turn their heads to you and they will be, so the pronunciation needs
Yeah.
to be corrected as well. So that's the way.
Yeah, true. I was also, I think I was taken aback with how often they use the words cool as and awesome. Because I think in the
Mhm.
Philippines, something has to be a little bit wow, or, something that
Yeah.
amazes you to call something, oh, that's awesome, or that's
Yeah.
so cool. But I
It's
here, I can
too
just
much.
simply say, hey, Juve, I've refilled your water bottle. You don't need to worry about it. You can say cool as. Or you can
Mm.
I can simply
Yeah.
say that, hey, Juve, I've turned off the heater because the temperature's reached
Yeah.
whatever, 25 degrees, and you can say sweet as or awesome. And it's like very casual. It doesn't really mean the same. It doesn't carry the same weight as when we use it back home in the Philippines. So, yeah, if somebody tells you that you are so awesome,
Yeah.
it's, yeah, pretty ordinary. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I
Those are
mean, you're
like the
good, but
basic expressions of Kiwis here. Awesome, sweet as, cool as, sweet, or
yeah, sweet.
cool
Cheers.
bananas. Cheers,
Cool
cool bananas.
bananas. Yeah, cheers.
Um, uh,
Yeah, cheers
what's
doesn't mean like always with alcohol. Cheers is
sure, bro.
how to say? Yeah, like thanks, or yeah, all right, or yeah, I'm going. It's like a way to end a conversation, particular part of a
And
conversation,
what was that?
or like a
And
ending greeting.
the greetings. Of course, the Maori one is quite popular. Kia ora, or good morning, morning, morena. How do you?
Yeah.
What's your normal greeting in your office? Because our one is just multicultural anyway.
Well, I tend to just always say good morning because everybody understands good morning. But if when Maori professionals are there, then I tend to say morena.
Mm.
Mm.
Hmm. And you feel like the Kiwis here are down to earth because they don't want to be called boss or sir or madam or ma'am. Just call them by their first name.
Oh
And
yeah,
even
that's another culture shock for me.
mm, um,
I think.
even my colleague,
Mm-hmm.
well, of course, the students will have a different addresses when they are going to call their teachers. But among
Mm.
colleagues, I had a colleague in the past where she wanted to be called by her first name by the staff. She doesn't want to
Mm.
be called by her last name like the students would call her. She wants to be called
Yeah.
by her first name. And another thing that I've noticed, because this is a school setting, of course, I'm working in school. There's
Mm.
also a teacher that doesn't want to be called teacher. You have to call
Mm.
her by the last name if you are the student, or first name if you are a colleague. For them,
Mm.
it's a sign of respect. So when I asked the student, because I was still fresh from the Philippines, and I told the kid,
Mm.
go to your teacher and show your work. And then this boy went to her and said, teacher, look at my work. And that teacher told that boy, I have a name and my name is. Yeah. So she doesn't
Mm.
want, obviously, she doesn't want to be called teacher, teacher, teacher. You know how we have that in the Philippines?
Oh.
Teach.
Yeah.
But it
Also,
dep-
you don't have guidelines in school on how to call teachers. You can decide on your own how you want to be called.
um usually by our last name if the students will be calling us. So Mrs.
Mm.
Pukoran in my case, or I can
Mm.
say
Okay.
Miss Juvy or Faya. Faya is the address for someone who is older lady and with a
Mm.
high rank or honorable, something like that. A
Yeah.
matua for a male teacher.
Yeah.
Ye- Yeah, but they can't. The students can't just call me Juvie. No, definitely. Or they cannot call me Bukoran. They have to say
Yeah. So
Miss.
rude.
I'm married. Yeah, but
Yeah.
among us colleagues, it's just first name, Juvie. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I think also because we are under the crown, so titles like sir, it actually means like a level of honor or merit that comes from the crown entity. So it's not just, how we grew up with American culture, that it's just a word for respect for anyone. But here,
Yeah.
if you are actually a sir, like Sir John Key, that means you've been awarded with some sort of merit of knighthood from the
Oh,
crown. So it means something different. So yeah, it was very awkward for me when I first came in, and I had to call everybody by their first name, especially when they're a lot older than me. But then I got used to it. But the funny thing is, I have so many aunties, Filipino aunties, who are married to non-Filipinos. And so sometimes I'm not sure, because of course Filipino to Filipino, I'd say Tita Anna, or
mm,
Tita
mm.
what,
Auntie.
Tita Mary, for example. But their husband, because I'm used to, when I speak with foreigners, I just say Mark, John, Phil, whatever. So
Yeah.
sometimes I don't know, do I need to call him Tito? Do I just say Phil? Do I say
Mm,
Uncle? Because
mm.
then it becomes awkward. Like, I'm calling your wife Tita, but I really don't want to call you Tito.
Yeah.
So,
S- How would you do that? I think it's a matter of communication. Ask them what do they want to be called.
well,
Or
well, I when I talk to them directly, I'd call them with the name. So I'd say, "Hey, Mark." But
yeah.
if I'm talking with my auntie, I'd say that, "How's Tito Mark?" So that she
Mm,
doesn't feel that I'm
okay.
disrespectful to Mark.
Okay. Sounds well, anyway, if you get used to it and you can just switch kind of
Yeah.
switch straight away, you
Let
can pick
me. Yeah.
that will help. Oh, talking about social norms, this is also the first time here. It was my first time to come to New Zealand. I've experienced this potluck. When
Oh.
somebody asks you to come over and you thought that you will just go there with nothing, because back
Yeah.
home when you're invited, just go there empty-handed. But it's different
Mm.
here. You are actually
Yeah.
expected to bring something.
Mm.
Well, what's your
Sure.
say on that one? But I think I like it. I like the idea.
I like it because it removes so much responsibility on one person, especially if
Hmm.
it's, yeah, I also feel that, because especially in Auckland, we are very multicultural. So we get to enjoy everybody's culture as well if everybody brings a plate. So,
Mm, yeah,
if
yeah.
I serve all Filipinos and then there are only 20% Filipinos in the group, I'm not sure if the 80% would enjoy it. So,
That's definitely probably one of the reasons why they're having it. Or could probably be that, how Kiwis are so particular with food because they have many allergies. But in the Philippines,
yeah.
parang I haven't heard of allergies in the Philippines, to be honest.
I know.
Pero
That's
dito,
how we make our genes strong.
100%. So that's
No, but I
why.
think yeah, I think it's cultural, because I've heard of stories where Kiwi couples get married and they invite their families and friends to actually bring potluck, and it's a wedding.
Mm,
So it's, even in birthdays, I'm not sure if you've experienced it, like bachelor's parties, birthday parties. Usually in the Philippines, pag birthday mo, treat mo. So pag nag-invite ka, ikaw ang maghanda, or pag
and
lalabas, ikaw magbayad.
yeah, with
But
many
here it's
Filipinos now.
opposite.
Have you attended many Filipinos events? Not so much.
Um, Not so. I mean, I tend to attend the free event in terms of Filipino events. But a lot of, for Kiwis, kung birthday mo, ikaw ang hindi magbabayad. So everybody you invited has to pay for themselves and for you.
Oh, I
So
thought.
yes, so if you are invited to a restaurant dinner, for example, for a bachelorette's party or a birthday party, you have to actually pay for your own food, for your own drinks, and if you can, you are expected to buy something for the celebrator, the celebrant.
The celeb. Is
Yeah.
that
So
why there
it's,
were quite a few restaurants here that are offering free for the celebrant? On their
yes,
birthday, free food
yes.
for you. but of course not for your visitors.
Yes.
but
So you're
but
expected to pay to celebrate their celebration.
fair enough, right? Because you're supposed to be celebrating. You should enjoy it instead of worrying about the expenses you will be incurring. But for Filipino birthday parties and any events, in most cases now parang nag-change na siya because they would even invite us, come to to our birthday party. You don't need to bring anything. They would tell us that. But if they don't, then I would probably bring a food, any takeaway that I can take with me, or cook something. Hindi naman ako
Mm.
nagluto. It's my husband. Or I cannot bring any food, I would bring a gift. So
Mm.
parang just
Yeah,
bring
like
some.
an unspoken rule.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Compared in the Philippines, when it's your birthday party and then you invite some visitors, they will just come in and eat and leave you with so many dishes to wash. Uh,
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, I don't like celebrating birthdays in that case.
It's better to celebrate.
Yes, that's true. Celebrate here and invite your friends because they are expected to bring something. I mean, even
Yeah.
just a pot of rice, you share it with everyone.
Yeah,
But again,
anything.
when it's Kiwis, ganyan talaga yan. When you are
Mm.
invited to a Kiwi party, you expect that, how do we say it? It's the unspoken rule where you have to bring something. And that something should be enjoyed by everybody. Sometimes we ask, what should
Yeah.
I bring? Because it's a Kiwi party. Ano bang mga favorites of Kiwis? Finger foods.
Sausage rolls,
Yeah.
sandwiches. There
Mm.
would most likely, almost all the time, there would be a charcuterie board with cheese and crackers, grapes, honey, and cold
Simply
cuts.
lang, diba? It's very plain and
Yeah.
simple. And that's why when
Yeah.
you invite them to come over to Filipino parties, they will be like, wow, this is a
They get
feast.
shocked. Yeah, they get shocked. What's
And
this?
heavy meal, especially because I don't think they like eating too much around dinner time, do they?
Yeah.
Ikaw, kasi Kiwi yung partner mo, di ba?
Well, he's originally from India, but he's been here
He grew up
for
here.
a long time. Mm.
Yeah. So how is his what are his preferences when it comes to food?
Oh, okay. Well,
Kiwi.
it's changed a lot since we got married. But he,
Ah,
first of all, he's vegetarian. So that's
ah,
already one thing that's going on. But he, you know how Indian foods are naturally very spicy with a lot of flavors. So even if I make something Filipino or try to make something Chinese or Thai or whatever, Italian, I need to make sure that there's a lot of flavors in it because usually Western food is more bland than flavorful. So we tend to mix a lot of Asian condiments or spices, even if we're making something Mexican or Italian recipe,
mm.
just to give a bit of oomph.
They also value here the preference in the food when they are inviting
Mm,
people or visitors. Because even in our school, when we have this teacher only day where teachers gather together and food will be provided by the school, they would ask us who prefers vegetarian, who are vegetarian, who prefers this kind of food and that. In the Philippines, you don't get to choose. You just
yeah,
get given to you, what is provided. But here,
yeah,
they're very considerate. I kind of like it, but
yeah.
sometimes I don't like it too because it makes me think, what should I choose? Like, just
I
give me
know.
whatever there is.
Yeah, like I prefer pork adobo than chicken adobo, and I really like to make adobo when we have non-Filipino guests. It's so easy and everybody likes it. But then so many people don't eat pork here. Even
Oh,
it doesn't
just
matter where they're
Filipinos,
from. A
eh?
lot of people don't eat. Yeah, they just don't
Mm.
eat pork. They feel like it's so unhealthy or whatever the reason is. And so I have to make
Oh,
chicken. I feel like I really want to eat pork.
okay. I remember one of my colleagues was asking, is it pork or chicken? So that's probably why I didn't mind.
Mm,
Good,
they don't.
probably.
Yeah.
Oh, because especially the Muslim, our Muslim community, because you know how
Yeah,
we provide lunches, free lunches to our students, and there
yeah.
are certain families from our Muslim community as well, or even the Fijian Indian community who prefers not to have pork in their lunch. So they,
Mm,
not us labeling it, but the lunch providers would label if this is halal, and
halal.
no peanuts for those who are allergic to peanuts. They
Yeah.
are very particular with food, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I like it, to be honest. I feel like everybody should just
Just
find
eat what.
whatever there is. Because we have so much here. It's not just halal, it's vegetarian, and then there's vegan, and then there's dairy free, which is somehow different from vegan. There's pescatarian, there's gluten free. Aside from halal, we have kosher for the Jewish people. We have high protein, we have low carb, we have so many things.
Imagine if you're in a restaurant and you are the chef, and oh, and you've got a big number of guests that you have to serve. Oh, that would be hard if there are so many food requirement. What do you call it?
Yeah,
Dietary requirements.
yeah.
Oh, geez.
Oh, so true. Yeah. If you're coming here, prepare yourself.
But if you're not picky, I think you're okay. If you have you're allergic to anything, you will be looked after. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. You don't need to
But
worry about, oh, is there fish or
yeah,
seafood?
that's true. You can tell the restaurant that all of the requirements that you have, and they will definitely not complain about it. I think in the Philippines, if
Yes.
you say that, like, please, no sugar, no milk or something, they will be like, anong tawag nun? Yung
Arte.
parang,
Ang arte naman ni Madam. Arte
ah,
naman ni Madam.
that's so true. Pero here, no, we definitely accept that, and you will be well looked after. Now, moving on
Mm.
to the friendship, building friendship or in Kiwi way, I like the idea of volunteerism.
Voluntary.
Kiwi
What do you
loves
mean by
that.
volunteerism?
You know how they welcome people to volunteer in events or um,
Ah.
even at school. We welcome volunteers. Uh, Especially if you're new in the country, so long as you have an open work visa, at least you are actually welcome to volunteer in any kind of events. Like I remember I have
Mm.
volunteered in the Iron Man in Topo. Just sign up, and the
Mm.
volunteer doesn't require the whole day. It can be just a few hours. Same in a classroom setting in school when I volunteered. They were actually surprised that I stayed for the whole day because they weren't expecting that. But in the Philippines,
Mm.
it's common when you volunteer, it's like you sign up your whole life and waiting for grace to come whenever it comes. You know, because I also volunteered as a teacher and it took me a year. And sorry to those who even volunteered ahead of me who spent more than 3 years volunteering, not even getting any pay. Pero dito, of course, volunteer has no pay. They will give you some freebies like a vest or cap or a drinking
Mm.
bottle at no pay, but only for a few hours.
Mm.
And it's a
Sure.
good way to build network. You know, you meet people, develop your communication skill, especially if you're coming from outside New Zealand, from the Philippines, say for example. Have you
Yes.
have you experienced any volunteering activity here?
Uh, yes. So, um, I think the biggest one was before I officially became a member of the National Party, a political party. For those who don't know,
Oh,
I I volunteered during the campaign for the last elections, and I think that was the busiest of volunteer work of my time.
when was this?
It's the last election, so 2.5 years ago.
So
Yeah.
for the National Party, Luxon.
Yeah, for Luxon. So
Ah,
yeah, that was the really hectic volunteer work that I've ever. Other than that, I volunteer in church communities.
Oh yes, yes, that's another
Just
experience.
I volunteer and run happiness courses as well online. So
Oh,
I
there
do
you
some
go.
courses for
That's
a not for profit. And yeah, that's actually true. There are a lot of volunteer experiences, opportunities that you can do here, and then you meet very different kinds, a lot of different kinds of people, but like-minded people. Because if you
mm,
volunteer in the same place, then you most likely are like-minded in some way.
mm.
So yeah, it's not hard, not really hard to find friends. I mean, we're very busy, we're very multicultural, but if you intentionally get out there and meet people, I am sure that you will meet someone. For me, I think the biggest way that I meet people is joining public events. Not yung mga festivals and stuff, but meetup groups. So
Oh
meetup
yes,
groups are
yes.
very
I've
big in New Zealand. It's like very common that almost everybody go to at least one meetup group or have been to meetup groups. So I'm not sure if people in the Philippines or anywhere overseas are familiar with this, but these are just groups organized by random people or random organizers that has a particular theme, or sometimes even
mm,
just for whoever wants to come, and then you would just basically meet people, introduce yourselves, and talk about whatever you want to talk about. And then sometimes you meet people who become your good friends or business partners or what. Yeah.
that's how I came to know you. Right? We met in a networking activity of Filipino, what do you call that?
Yes.
Filipino business
Business
group
council.
something. Yeah. But of
Yeah.
course, like the ones you mentioned, the meetup, I've also attended twice. It was the
Mm.
meetup of business-minded people. So whether you're into business or just thinking about business, we met. When was that? Around the year when I met you. So I think it was last year.
Yeah. A year ago. Mm.
And now that we have Facebook group pages, I've seen some posts there, an announcement like I'm new here in New Zealand and I would like to meet people, and that's good. This Facebook group
Yeah.
is really helpful to the community.
Yeah. That's true. It's also not as scary as in the Philippines, because in the Philippines, I wouldn't just go out and meet strangers.
No,
Baka hindi na ako makita ulit. But
yeah,
here
true.
it's But dito, as long as we don't go to dodgy places or meet really dodgy, suspicious people, you'd be fine. People are generally nice. They'd also talk to you if you're waiting in the bus stop, or if you meet each other in a walking track. It's normal to just say
They would
hi. How are
smile.
you? How's beautiful weather today?
But I
So yeah,
think
people are
it has
generally polite and
changed.
friendly.
It has drastically changed
It
recently
has.
because of many incidents, like, and of
Yeah.
course the many immigrants coming to New Zealand. Because I remember when it was my first time, there's so many lovely faces, strangers smiling at you. Hi, how are you? And it makes you feel like, what? Do we know each other?
Yeah.
You got that feeling that they kind of know you already, but it's not. It's just their way of um, just saying hi. Hi, how are you?
Mm.
But now with many immigrants coming, I seldom see that. I'm trying my best to adapt the Kiwi way by saying hi, but at times I feel like I'm not in the mood. So I think I
Yeah.
my way of thinking too. And the new immigrants who are coming and will not be experiencing that Kiwi way will, in the long run, just carry on with what they're doing, and the Kiwi way will definitely change because of
Mm.
people come and go. So yeah, I think us, because we've been here for quite some time, we need to carry on, because I think that
Yeah.
smiley face and the greetings is very good to
Yeah.
make the new ones feel like you're welcome here, and
One thing,
adapt
yeah.
they will adapt to
Oh, one
that.
thing that I really miss when I was new here, because I don't ride the bus so much anymore. It's like once in 2 years now. But what I noticed is when I was new here, every time you go down the bus, you'd say, "Thank you, driver." I don't know if you experience that, but we
No,
actually say thank you to the driver. Every single person who will go down the bus would say, "Thank you, driver. Thank you, driver. Thank you, driver." And then I started
no.
driving and I didn't take the bus for a very long time. And then I had to. And everybody was just like not talking at all. And so I was like, what happened to, that
Mm,
polite, friendly way of thanking the driver? Very simple thing. So when it was my turn to go down, I actually said, "Thank you, driver." And he was like, "Is she actually
oh,
thanking me?" And
yeah.
so,
See,
yeah, that's one thing that I miss. Mm.
I've just taken a bus once or twice in my entire life, so I haven't experienced that. So it would be nice. I'd probably do that when I get a chance. Right? Don't forget
Yeah.
to say thank you because Kiwis are really good at saying thank you and sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. Even that, instead of saying excuse me, you would hear sorry. I was like,
Yeah.
that was the first time to hear that. I was like,
What
oh,
did you do?
what are you sorry for? You're just walking past. But that's how they do it. And I think we immigrants should adapt and should not change that because it's really good.
Mm.
Mm.
100%, I agree.
Well, anything else would you like to add about the Kiwi culture and the Kiwi way of living? I would say Kiwis are quite humble. You won't even notice that they are this very rich. Or maybe it's because rich people don't really act like they're rich. Because how
Yes.
we work in a farm, and the owner of the farm has quite a vast area of farm, but they just dress like farmers,
Yeah.
like they are
No, this is so
workers.
true. Yeah, this is so true. Which just proves why we don't need to dress up when we just casually go out. Because, yeah, I've met a lot of really, really, I've met rich people, especially when we're meeting a lot of business people. And most of the time, these people will just, show up. Many times, especially in the summer, you'd see them in a normal shorts and t-shirt
Yeah.
and jandals. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, very
Mm.
true. I mean, I think for any Filipinos or any other potential migrant who's thinking to come here, don't be phased. It's a lot probably that we talked about tonight. It's not even maybe not even half of what you will experience. But what I would
Mm.
say is like Juve said, people here are very humble, very friendly, warm, accommodating, very inclusive in terms of dealing with how different you are. And when you come here, they are not phased or scared that, oh, now we have to deal with you, or oh no, you need to start behaving like us. No, they are actually very kind and accommodating, so don't let the differences scare you. And be adaptable when you come here. I find that a lot of the cultural things here that are different feel a bit awkward in the beginning, but in the end you'll realize, oh, this is why New Zealand is such a great place because of all these things and how their people are. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Oh, there's more to share with the number of years that
Mm,
we've stayed here.
yeah.
But we'll reserve the others till next time because it's almost an hour already of chatting with you. And guys, we thought that we feel like we're just the only ones talking here. It would be nice to hear from you as well, but feel free to comment as to what you have experienced here in New Zealand, the shocking words or expressions or the behaviors of New Zealanders here, or anything that surprised you, or anything that you would say, yep, you've experienced what we have shared with you. Feel free to let us know and also comment as to what are the other topics that you would like us to talk about next time. But of course, we have already set our other episodes. What's our next topic, by the way? If you couldn't remember.
Yeah, we have. But 100%, if you really want to hear about something very specific, and if there are many of you who are really interested in that, we'll definitely add that in because we're doing this to add value to you. So Yeah.
Sorry, I was about to say something. I got choked. If you missed our previous episodes, feel free to visit our YouTube channel where everything is already put in order in folders. So that would be easy for you to find them, especially the Settle, Shine, and Succeed episodes, the home buying tips, and even experiences here as a teacher in New Zealand. But our next
Mm.
episode would be finding a job in New Zealand, the strategies that actually work. We'll
Very
have to ask,
important, especially in this time.
and especially for those who are new here and I'm not, still not landing on jobs, we're gonna give you some tips. And it's up to you anyway, because there's gonna be a lot of tips that we'll give away, and it's up to you which one you're going to apply in
Mm,
your field. So my field is teaching.
100%.
Your one is
Mine
coaching,
is now in coaching. Yeah. I've
corporate
worked in
world.
supply chain before, so I can share a little bit about that as well.
Uh, Definitely a lot of things. Right. There you have it. We've discussed so much, but it's not all, of course. So stay tuned because we are going to share more with our experiences and observations and the friends that are telling us more about New Zealand. So you will feel more comfortable, more adaptable, and more confident in living your life here in New Zealand. And we will keep growing, of course, and keep thriving together. Thanks so much, Regine, for your precious time today. And
Well,
everyone,
thank you so much for organizing most of this too. And to the
that's a
listeners,
pleasure.
if you feel like there's anyone who's interested to come here or are new here, please share these YouTube YouTube series or podcast. We started this to really add value to more people. So the more there are to give feedback, and the more there are who gets value, the better we can do this, and the longer we can keep doing this. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
We're
all.
going to keep doing this because every day there's going to be a lot of changes anyway. We're excited to give you more. So see you next time, everyone.
Have a good
Kakite.
night.